Denver's coming off a solid road victory over their division rival, the Raiders, and the Cleveland Browns are coming off an exciting victory as well in a snowy matchup against their division rival also in Week 12. They get to face each other as Cleveland flies to Denver in this Week 13 matchup. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down the Cleveland Browns versus Denver Broncos Week 13 game. But before we get into that, we do have a goal of getting to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. And so, Ryan, Denver Broncos, another great victory here for them. I know the Raiders are one of the lowly teams on the season, and now they're going to be without their quarterback as well for the rest of the year after he broke his collarbone. But still, any road win over your division rival, I think in the NFL is a solid victory. And so they were pretty dominant throughout the entire game as well. Held Raiders to a lot of field goals. And Bo Nix had another solid performance as well, 25 for 42, 273 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton had himself a game as well with 8 catches, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. And so this team also, too, and then defensively, they're performing really well also. Cleveland Browns going in had a quintessential AFC North matchup in the Snow Bowl. They're beating Pittsburgh Steelers with Jameis Winston, and so many great memes have now come from his pregame interview and even postgame also as well. But I think the Cleveland Browns team, I think they're just liking having him in the locker room. He seems like a really good guy for any football team. What do you think are some of the X factors here for both of these teams coming into this game to come out victorious?
Yeah, well, one of the things I think we saw in just throughout Jameis Winston's career is that he's definitely willing to throw the ball up, whether it's a good decision or not. And hence his 30 touchdown, 30 interception season in Tampa. And so I think for me, if this Browns team could come out and they can sling the rock and not turn the ball over, I think that bodes well for them. Jameis Winston can limit the turnover-worthy plays. That's going to help this offense kind of keep pace with this Broncos offense.
That's a big ask. That's a big ask, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I laugh. Like, I remember when he was in Tampa and he was throwing like bombs to Mike Evans in the first quarter into like double, triple coverage. And then it was like, well, that was an easy pick. And then it was like he would do it in the fourth quarter, and then like Mike Evans would just come down with it. Like it was just he was throwing these 50-50 balls that were just insanely like crazy, but it worked because he had Mike Evans. So anyways, that, and then I think getting after Bo Nix, Myles Garrett, he had a lot of talk after that game. And granted, if you're as big and as good as Myles Garrett is, I think you could say it. No one's really going to question you, frankly, because he's a terrifying human being. But you got to go back it up now. Go have a 2-3 sack performance against a rookie quarterback and really make his life uncomfortable. This is a good offensive line with Denver, but it's not the best in the league. So go put your money where your mouth is and go make some plays. I think that's going to be really important. How these receivers match up with Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome is going to be important as well. And then can this Browns offensive line play well on the line of scrimmage? This is a really good defensive front for the Broncos, and I think this is going to be a really good matchup. And I actually think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think it will be.
No, I think it's going to be closer as well. And the Broncos team as a whole is very good, much better than a lot of people initially had expected. I know that there's 7-5 on the season now, could be 8-4, potentially even 9-3 as well if a couple of plays have gone their way, like for Kansas City, for example, or then even what was the other loss that they had there? The Chargers earlier in the season also. So it's funny too, because to me, I think the biggest difference in this game is going to be the quarterback play as well. Both these quarterbacks I like a lot. They seem like really fun guys to even play with them and play for. Jameis Winston, seems like a great locker room guy. He was only in New Orleans for like 1 season, maybe 2 seasons, I forget. But when they, at the end of the game, though, between the Browns and Saints, like he's hugging every single player, and everybody looked ecstatic to see them. So you got that aspect for it, a guy who just loves the game of football. And Bo Nix as well, young, feisty quarterback who we were talking about this before we started recording, but probably rookie of the year if he keeps this going. Like he's having an amazing season And the fight that he has and the feistiness that he's had, and you see his development and his will and his want. It's hard not to want to do really well for both of these guys. And so coming into this matchup here, the biggest difference I think is then, but then also too, I think comes at within the quarterbacks is something that you mentioned earlier is you have that gunslinger mentality, Jameis Winston versus then Bo Nix, and also to the offensive system that they have set up is to be efficient, to limit your mistakes, and not beat yourself up. For example, that Los Angeles Chargers game is a game to me where they beat themselves up early, multiple turnovers in the first half, and they got behind the 8 ball. And that I think is going to be the difference in the game for me. Is I think Jameis Winston is just going to make too many mistakes overall, while Bo Nix, this Denver Broncos team, has just been super efficient overall. They have started to struggle to run the ball a little bit as of late. Earlier on in the season, in the middle part of the season, they were pretty consistently getting over 110, 115 yards with a couple of blips there in the past. But these past 3 weeks, they've only had 78 rushing yards, 105 against Atlanta, and then 63 rushing yards. Now, admittedly, though, in the past 2 weeks, Bo Nix has also thrown the ball a lot and very well against these two defenses. So maybe they haven't had the need to run the ball nearly as much. But that, I think, is going to be important, though, against this Browns team because, as you mentioned, Myles Garrett and this defensive line, they can absolutely stop the run as well, just with how feisty that they can be up front. So if they make the Broncos one-dimensional, Broncos have shown they can throw the ball well and effectively, but it's been through a lot of efficient plays. Well, they don't have those explosive playmaking players. Well, I feel they can consistently make those explosive playmaking plays. And I think that's the one thing missing from this Broncos team. While on the flip side, though, Cleveland, as I mentioned, and as you said earlier, it's like the gunslinger mentality. Yeah, is he going to throw some bad throws? But you got Jerry Jeudy, you got Elijah Moore. You got these guys that they could take a deep ball, and then Jameis Winston is going to give them an opportunity to go and catch it. And that's where those explosive plays can go in. I say all that. You still got Pat Surtain, you got Riley Moss, and that entire Denver Broncos defense on the other side of the ball who's been playing really well. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. To me, kind of looking at this game, I think it's just going to come down to consistency. I bet Myles Garrett does have a couple sacks. I bet Jameis Winston does get a couple touchdowns. I just think it's not going to be enough. I think the Broncos are just playing really efficient football right now. Bo Nix is clicking. John Payton is working up a lot of good offensive schemes and a lot of good defensive schemes as well. I think that they're just going to pull this one out here. I think it's going to be 31-21.
Okay.
Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Denver too. I'm going to say 27-17 is going to be my final score. I just don't envision Cleveland's offense being able to consistently move the ball. I think there'll be the explosive play here or there, but kind of like we mentioned with Jameis Winston's inconsistencies at quarterback, I just don't think it's going to be conducive to a team that's as efficient as Denver.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It was neat seeing him kind of have his moment there.
It was great.
It's neat seeing him here. He's a guy too. I will say, maybe he stays in Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland wants to hang on to him if they want to move on from Deshaun and draft a young rookie quarterback. But I think there's an opportunity though if he plays well over these next 6 weeks and can maybe show a little bit more maturity. Still have a gunslinger, but not like the incompetence sometimes throwing the ball or incompetence in decision making because the talent is there. But
yeah,
I could see a team maybe potentially the Raiders, potentially the Giants, where they want to draft a young rookie quarterback but don't want to start him immediately. You come and bring
or
this
the team
guy
that misses out on that lottery.
Potentially so, yeah. And so because he's got the capability to win you some games. He's also a great locker room guy. It seems like this is a guy you want in the locker room, especially too compared to what the other quarterback was in Cleveland. I have his night and day difference. So he's a guy I'm very curious to see what happens in this offseason because I could see him moving around if he's given that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I definitely would. I would bring him into my locker room just so he could write motivational quotes on the whiteboards. Seriously, this dude has some of the best quotes in all of sports. It's awesome.
His pregame interview, man, was phenomenal. I love it. I get goosebumps watching him, man. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, he's awesome. So I would bring him in just for like vibes alone. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead. We are both taking Denver in this matchup, despite all the good vibes coming from Cleveland. Let's go ahead. We'll wrap it up. Go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Cleveland Browns? Will it be the Denver Broncos? And on that, we'll see you guys next time.